welcome back to Shemsuniverse. So today, guys, we're moving on to Gemini compatibility. So with Gemini, this is a very communicative sign. They're in charge of the third house, which is all about intellectual learning, our early development in school, education. So Gemini is a bit of a taskmaster when it comes to getting information. A weak point with the Gemini, I've gone over some of this in other videos as well, is that they have a bit of a hard time implementing the information that they learn. So Geminis are people that will brainstorm and have all of these ideas and ideologies in their head, but they don't actually ground it and put it into action. The reason behind this is that it's an air sign. It has that air quality, so it makes them highly intellectual. With high intellect typically comes high anxiety, less stress, and also they're a mutable air sign, which makes them a lot different than Aquarius and Libra. So they're on the tangent of looking at things from one perspective, and then 10 minutes later down the road, they can look at things from a very different perspective. And I'm a victim of this. I'm definitely a Gemini myself. So I definitely do know a lot about how this horoscope affects people. So we're going to talk today about Gemini and Gemini directly, how they're compatible. And we're just going to go from there. We're going to go through all the rest of the signs in the next following days. So when you get two Geminis together, the compatibility is about 75 to 80%. It will work across all the spectrums, meaning from a friendship to a business to a intimate relationship. The reason being for this is one, on a relationship tangent, like I always start off with, they're very good at understanding one another because they're both very communicative signs. The lack of emotional depth to the two parties is where the weakness is going to lie. Just due to the fact that Geminis are kind of cold, analytical, logical, rational sort of people. They want to look at things from the left side of the brain, and they're not really opening up to the right side of the brain of creativity, of love and acceptance and opening up. So when you get that, you're going to have kind of a lack of affection. You might get somebody who's not sharing their real problems with their partner. So when you have two people that are doing this, of course that can lead to issues. As much as you guys may talk a lot to each other, and there may not be any sort of emotional depth to what's being said. And that's where the weakness is going to lie. If you guys are able to both, or at least one partner is able to go more into the right side of their brain, go more into their emotional depth, feel life instead of just always thinking about how life affects them, that's where the change is going to happen. And that's how the relationship can really improve dramatically. But without that, it's not going to improve that much whatsoever. Another thing that I like to add is that Gemini is represented by Mercury, which is the fast moving planet in the universe, or known universe anyways, and Mercury moves so quick. Gemini also moves quickly through relationships and friendships. They'll just be friends with you one day in a relationship, and then the next day they just move on because of that change in perspective. I would tell all Geminis that, especially if you're just going to get with any sign whatsoever, make sure you take the time to learn about your partner and then see that you actually do appreciate and love them. Because without having that sort of understanding, you're saying, well, they're hot or they're whatever, you're just dating them, it's not going to last. And that kind of goes for everybody, but with Geminis, it's especially, I would just say you should put that in bold letters, just because they don't really understand the idea that you need to have an emotional depth in order to have a very good long-term relationship. Okay? Moving on next to business, this is where Geminis will really shine together, I would argue. Just the reason being is that Geminis are very intellectual people. A lot of them will be very gifted, especially the first deacons are very gifted when they're double controlled by Mercury. So these people will be able to come up with new ideas, innovate things in the speed in which a lot of people can't do in years. They'll do it in days. So when you get two Geminis together that are actually serious about a business, my money's going to be on them getting it done for sure. There's a lack of emotional depth, like I said, which is perfect for business. They're very good machine workers. Like when it comes to just being a machine, getting things done, having lack of ego, being cold about it. Geminis are what runs it for sure. They're the royalty there. They can just get it done. But like I said, as long as that understanding is there, you guys both have a very similar interest in the business, then the compatibility will work very perfectly. So I give this literally at average at maybe 85 to 90% of the time it would work. Only weakness in a business is if you guys are a bit indecisive. Geminis, of course, like to change their mind. If you're indecisive about what you want to do with that business, what the trajectory is, what you want to do with it, then of course you're just going to see collapse. And last but not least, for friendships, I give it like 75%. Two Geminis together in a friendship, it's a bit funny. You would think they like each other. they'll understand each other, the volatility of their emotions, the volatility in the way in which that they view the world, but that can also change if they're on two different, I guess, moods. One person's on an angry mood swing, the other person's on a happy mood swing. That can just lead to a clash that, even with a friendship, just will not work out. So they just need to be very careful in the way in which that they communicate. Make sure you're not using too many harsh words. I mean, neither party is that sensitive anyways, but just ensure that you are really taking the time to develop a friendship, set up good healthy boundaries, and then see where it's going to go. If it's just going to be a strictly platonic friendship, if you're going to bring it to an intimate level, that's great. Business, that's great. Or if it's just going to be some more of the acquaintanceship, where you just go to the bar and hang out. It all depends, but just make sure those boundaries are set and make sure that you understand what you're in that friendship for. Everything else should solve itself from there. But that should conclude the video, guys. If you have any questions whatsoever, just please let me know in the comments. But aside from that, guys, please like, subscribe. Holla me. It's over today, guys. Peace.